Just a moment. So it's a best of 5. This is the mid Elo Mayhem 2 final. Yeah, and it's also the silver 2. That should do, and that should do it. I hope we haven't had any patches recently that messes with things. Sorry about me setting the overall sound volume here. I didn't check capture H beforehand. Might be a little bit low for you guys, but it's... I need to save my ears. Just sorting some things out here, but we're just getting the Dark Age started, so hope that's okay. And we're good to go. Alright, let's have a look here. This is Teapot Master versus Boar Duderman. The way this works, it is a best of 5. They've drafted civs. I hope I linked the correct draft. It should be !draft in that case. They have been picking their home maps from one pool, and then there's also a to decide the game 3 and game 2 maps, but then they've also had a discard system to decide the first map. So there's a set map pool of I don't remember how many maps currently right now, but you discard until there's only one map left. So they've basically been banning one map each until they reach the final one, which ended up being Bay to start with. Yeah, bit puzzle to the Hans pick here. Hans on, you know, I guess, I mean, you have wood savings as Hans, so it's easier to get the fish boom rolling and everything once you have the wood for it. But the fact that you start with this wood will delay your dock. Borderman seems to have somewhat of a plan going here, though. It's going heavily on wood to make sure you get that dock up nice and early. It's actually almost matching Teapot Master to it here. No loom for Teapot Master, so that villager woman is at risk of going down. But now Teapot Master brings the scouts over, and Boar-Duder-Man will need to escape. That still delays the dock a bit, though, which means that Boar-Duder-Man will be the first one to get the dock up. Oh, gets the villager as well. Great pick off there from the orange player. And now getting chased by Teapot Master Scout, but getting one villager kill like that, that's still nice early damage there. Risk losing the scout here, but yeah, Teapot Master taps out, knows that the TC has to be over here because Bay has fixed positions. The dock is up, whereas Teapot Master not quite starting it yet. This is Berbers versus Hanso. And I believe Berbers is an intended counter pick to the Huns, so clever picking here by Teapot Master, or potentially a little bit lucky as well, but I'd go with clever for now. Because Berbers, they have the ultimate counter to Cavalry Archer play, which Huns often will get into on many of these open land maps, or hybrid maps for that matter. Because they have 20% discount to their cavalry archers from the ranges. The only thing they're missing, to my knowledge, is the last armor upgrade in Imperial Age. So it's easy for Huns to match cav archers. They can be really annoying to deal with. And but for the Berbers, they have their unique unit from the castle, Camel Archer, which has significant bonus damage against cavalry archers. So the The Berbers have probably among the best units in the game to deal with extended cavalry archer play. They're both producing fish now. They're going to fight a little bit for the middle area here. Not so much for the fish, but more so for the map control, because this map isn't... I suppose it's easily walled, because you could wall between the woodlines here. But you can't build on this terrain, so you have to wall between the woodlines onto the edge of the map in order to secure your home base through walling. Teapot Master out on scouting now, must know that there's a dock going up, because yeah, you'd expect players to dock on this map to make use of the nice food boost of the early fish. Borderman first to the feudal age here, going up at 22 villagers, so this could be a scouts build order, supported by some fish food income. Teapot Master fights the dock. It could also be to fight for the water, of course. Early feudal age also helps the naval fighting, and going up at lower population here for Teapot Master, also losing that one villager. So already quite behind here with the higher idle TC time and the lower population. So sort of behind in the economy. And also in the progression towards the next stage. 5 fish to 4 fish, nothing too significant here. That could be part of the population difference as well. I suppose fishing ships count as villagers. But it's 21 to 22 villagers going up here. Both in the feudal age, but Teapot Master with a better hit points here. Borderman fleeing back to home base might rebuild in that stable to Teapot Master, but Teapot Master actually not seeing that. Might suspect it still from the uptime though. Are they going to queue fire galleys as well? They both are, but Teapot Master with double docks here, and the Berbers ships, they move faster, so I guess it's not that significant in a small lake like this, but on other larger naval maps where Berbers actually have an advantage there with their ships, because they can always outfloat the other ships and decide when and where to take the fights. Borderman does not see that there are 2 docks here, but does see that the fish, and goes for the fish here to eliminate the food income, or at least idle the food income on water of Teapot Master here. Looking at the land, Teapot Master is also not fully walled. So that means that you're at risk of losing units to scouts. Second fire galley popping out here, but Teapot Master has the numbers advantage, having 2 docks working here. Only queuing out of one of them though. But looks like Borderman realizes that, okay, this is 2 docks to 1. I may not stand a chance here. Actually cancels the other dock, and will try to limit the damage potential here. Nice movement of the scouts out in the field as well, but there's lots of units to attend to across the map here, so you have to keep an eye out for everything, which means that if your attention is here, maybe it's harder to follow your scouts over here. And then on the wood line, we saw Borderman losing a villager as well. There's another weak one here as well, which Teapot Master could benefit from. So they're both... Actually, that was Teapot Master's starting scout, so Teapot Master is only focusing on water, which, as you can see from the eco development here, Teapot Master still fishing. Got a very nice food income advantage, and in the dream scenario for the Berbers here is quite heavy on gold already. We'll be clicking Castle Age shortly, and dropping the presumably the stables at home to benefit from a much earlier Castle Age to pump out the 15% cheaper Berbers, Knights, or Camels if need be. Oh no! No! Borderman is walling towards the shore here. That's not going to keep any aggression out. Maybe he doesn't know the map all that well. The Hans pick has a bit of an off pick for this one, I think. But it's still a clever counter pick by Teapot Master for sure. This is not going to keep any units out. because you could still pass here and move right through. So I've been there doing that mistake myself, so that's why I know. Also, controlling the water, you could use the fire ships to break the walls anyway. So if it had been completely walled here, Border the man wouldn't need to worry. Why is Border the man still trying to get back on water here? This is, I mean, it's not. There's not that much fish. There's not a disaster losing that. There's 4 villagers going forward. Is he going to attempt a tower now? Where are these guys going? Why are they going out here? And why is Teapot Master all over here with a weak villager? Ooh. Well, the scouts are in, so there's definitely some potential for counter damage here. The gold is walled in, the woodlands are walled in. This has to be a tower drop on the gold or something, but Teapot Master is one step ahead, actually taking some resources far off over here for some reason as well. These are the villagers that used to mill over here, so that's probably the idea here. To just relocate them out of Bordu, the man's line of sight. He can't see that there's any resource collection from Teapot Master over here. Yep, definitely a tower. No, but that's... yeah, that needs to be closer, right? Definitely needs to be closer. No, oh, is it 1, 2, 3? I guess it's fine, especially if you get fletching, you'll reach this. But again, look at the progression here. If Teapot Master just drops a market now, could transition that massive gold income into food, and by the way, towards the castle age. I'm surprised Teapot Master isn't up yet, because the food situation was looking very promising not too long ago. It's 15 farms for Bordudeman, compensating nicely for losing the fish. Villagers trying to flee away from the towers, but the scouts are on point. They don't have any upgrades though, so they will not be able to camp underneath TC fire and whatnot. 2 on stone for Bordudeman, so going to keep the aggression up here, walling in this tower as well. Nice, that's going to make it harder for Teapot Master to just task villagers to batter it down. Arguably good reaction by Teapot Master here as well, forcing up a tower on one of the wood lines to keep the aggression out. I think Teapot Master is fine here, but Teapot Master needs to get to that castle age and get that age up advantage and pump out some knights maybe, or just to get some counter aggression in on land as well. There are some weak villagers here and there, and these walls are just not keeping Borduderman safe. Alright, Borduderman, you're at work. Enjoy work then. WODs will be up for about 2 weeks, I think, and then I usually add all final casts to my YouTube channel as well. Sneak stable attempt from Borduderman here, I love it. But Teapot Master spots it. It's not going to allow Borduderman to get that sneak stable up, and that's one of the remaining forward villagers. There's one over here as well though, so you could drop a stable in this area. Are there more? It's 8 villagers total, or eco units total lost from Borduderman, so not too sure about that. Probably lost most of the forward villagers. Could be when this tower went up that Borduderman lost a couple of villagers. That way, now dropping a range, making the most of the forward villagers here. And quick walling in the villager as well. There aren't any ranged units here from Teapot Master. But yeah, look at the resources. Somehow Borduderman is first up to the castle, which I find absolutely ridiculous here, given the resource setup and the income from fish food and whatnot from Teapot Master here. Could probably go into fish traps here at this point, because the fish has been depleted. There's wood in the bank. There are stables going up already. Probably Teapot Master will want a couple more stables to really benefit from the castle age of the Berbers here. Thinking ahead, Teapot Master might want to commit to stone already as well to get to the Cavalashers, because I feel like for board with the man, it makes a whole lot more sense to go for cavalry archers here than the knights, even with a lead over the Berbers and the Huns, 20% faster working stables. Cav archers just makes more sense against what's going to be a knight's cavalry play from Teapot Master. Well, the cast stage is in for Border Domain. We have 4 ranges, no less, producing the cavalry archers. 2 forward ranges and 2 at home. Keeping the blacksmith repairing there as well, so Bodkin Arrow can come in at least. Husbandry coming in, I like that. I suspect that Bloodlines is already in because of the earlier scouts play, so closing in on fully upgraded cast stage cavalry archers already here. The fire galley is getting some nice hits in on the cav archers. But then there's the forward ranges as well, which Teapot Master might not be prepared for here. Cast stage is in. 3 stables are up for the blue player. We'll probably be seeing all 3 stables producing the knights as well. There's the market here to adjust the economy if need be for Teapot Master. Might consider buying some with their great cavalry archer movement play here from Borduman, just in time to spot that Teapot Master has moved over to the north side. Will he see the TC going up as well? Yes, he's using the stray scouts to scout the edge of the map here, and these cav archers could easily stop this TC from going up. In fact, Teapot Master might as well just... Wait, is he not seeing it? Teapot Master probably should consider deleting this TC sooner rather than later, because this is going to go into... Yeah, the villagers are going to go down. This TC will not complete unless he sends a lot more villagers over here to complete it. Nice move of Borduman to deny the home stone on Teapot Master in this way as well, walling it in. But look at the resources, now the military being produced in the back of the base here. Teapot Master plus 2 defense coming in. Camels out of all 3 stables here. They are 15% cheaper for the Berbers in the Castle Age. If they get close to the camels, then if they get close to the cavalry archers, I mean, they will absolutely eat the cavalry archers here. Yep, TC Foundation deleted, rebuilt in the back of the base on the gold and wood line instead to keep the core economy safe from the cavalry archers. Cavalry archers numbers increasing for the Huns though. Teapot Master, no access to stone currently, committing to the camels, getting decent value though, delaying the critical mass of cav archers for Borduman for now, but is still taking losses. If you look at the KD, is more on the positive side for Teapot Master for now. Having taken out a few more eco units as well. Still wants to take out that blacksmith as well. And guarding the side of the map here nicely with the fire galleys. But I feel like we need a skirmishers or a janitors addition here from Teapot Master to keep the cavalry archers away. That's another one of the Berbers' advantages against cavalry archer play actually. They also have a mounted skirmisher as a team bonus, a unit from the archery ranges. If you're allied with a Berbers player, or if you are playing as the Berbers, you will be able to make janitors out of your archery range, which is essentially a skirmisher on a horse. So you'd be able to almost keep up with cavalry archers moving about with skirmishers on horseback. $23 cav archers, still 1 TC for Borduman, means that Teapot Master might be able to claim an eco lead here with 2 TCs to 1. So it's all about defending then. If you can keep your economy safe away from the cavalry archer aggression, you'll establish an eco lead and eventually be able to expand out across the map as well. This stone obviously off limits, but there's neutral stones, small 2-tile patches here and there all over the map that might still allow Teapot Master to produce those camel archers to deal with the cavalry archer play of Borduman. Just wanted to double check there that my sound is actually on, but it should be. Nice and compact and safe economy in the back of the base here for Teapot Master, but it's not going to last Teapot Master forever. Love the Scorpion's addition that allows Teapot Master to fire through the cavalry archers and weaken a lot of units with the same projectile. Actually, pikemen added now by Borduderman. Pikemen heavy, huge damage against cavalry, 22 bonus damage. I suppose there's a separate one for camels, maybe. 18 against camels. So it's 73 builders to 63 now, but Borduderman is keeping up with the military. Actually going to knights. Why knights? Why knights? It's probably against the siege, but there are lots of camels on the field. Knights doesn't make sense at all here. We are going to see a potential castle drop here from Borduderman though. Where's that going to go? Suppose he actually wants to go all the way in here and deny this gold of Teapot Master. Outpost going up in the middle of the field as well to keep an eye out on the neutral resources. But Teapot Master is defending nicely. If you have a look at the KD, Teapot Master is with 61 to 23 here, so definitely taking the better trades here. Having to replenish fewer units to hold off the aggression here. Just a few knights added by Borduderman there. I still don't understand the knights' decision, but knights have been able to deal with at least one of the scorpions. So I guess that's something. Cavalry archer numbers declining. Pikeman switch incoming against the camels and knights. I'm not hating that for the Huns. Huns get halberdiers as well in the very late game. Cav archers should be a nice end game combo for the Huns. Or possibly hussars. Cav archer as an alternative. But you need to keep denying stone of Teapot Master here. If Teapot Master is able to get the castle up and get the camel archers out, then Borduderman's cavalry archers are in trouble. He seems to have bailed on the cav archer idea now though and switching into the trash option instead with the pikes. Food situation not great though, and still only one TC. It's been one TC play for almost 40 minutes here now for Borduderman, which means that Teapot Master's eco lead is just going to escalate here. It's now 90 to 62, so around about 30 villagers more for Teapot Master. Cleaning up the forward buildings of Borduderman as well. Probably going to clean up these palisades next. And claim the stone as Borduderman is going into defensive mode now. I'm not sure if I like this. It's 1 TC. You're far behind in economy at this point as Borduderman, but I guess with the armies lost as well, you have to think alternatively. Actually, looks like Borduderman is idling for Imp now. Going to get that castle up. Once that castle completes, Borduderman can click the Imperial Age if he wants to. But what's that Imperial Age going to bring? What's that Imperial Age going to bring for Borduderman? Suppose we're looking at the Halb siege push here, which is strong against the Berbers. Their Berbers' best response to that would be a full champion switch, I suppose, and that takes a long while to get to. You could alternatively go for Onigurs as well, but yeah, hard one for Berbers to hold off. But it's 3 minutes just to reach the Imperial Age here for Borduderman, and after that, granted he has some of the numbers, but in the meantime, Teapot Master could play the mobility now that Borduderman has gone into the pikeman switch and try and look for places to deal damage. Teapot Master, obviously knowing by now that the his eco situation is well ahead. It's 40, almost 50 villagers more for the blue player here, and now also on stone, which means that the first castle will probably be going up defensively around here, denying a halb siege push entering Teapot Master's base easily. So stray knights over here, probably looking for some damage to be dealt, and outposts going up for the Teapot Master as well to get some idea about where the cav archers might be or other mobile armies of the opponent. So the cav archers should be able to catch up with the knights, but yeah, chooses to take the fighter. Imperial Age on the way for Teapot Master. Only 3 on stone, so that castle is still going to take a while before that castle goes up. Teapot Master has seen the castle of Bordudoman at home base. That needs to be dealt with through Trebs or other things. Should it come to a Treb war in the Imperial Age here, with Bordudoman's earlier Imperial Age, Bordudoman has the advantage because Hans Trebs, they simply have better accuracy overall. Here comes the castle for Teapot Master, protecting this straight TC. Doesn't really do anything about the home base here though, so I would be a little bit worried about the incoming soon-to-be halberdiers, potentially halb siege push here. 2 TCs for Bordudoman as well, but it's still 50 villagers behind. Has a military lead, but is going to be significantly behind if this army dies to Teapot Master's defenses, because the economic difference is just so huge at this point. If I'm Teapot Master here, I might want to consider pulling some builders off wood to go to gold to further strengthen the gold income for the siege and cavalry coming in here. Cavalry archers in the making from the castle. That's a beautiful response to the cavalry archers of the Huns. We'll see once the cavalry archers pop out what their bonus damage against the cavalry archers looks like. But it's significant enough to be a very good counter unit to the mass of cavalry archers. Scorpion's doing alright as well. Knights and pikes in front for Teapot Master here, or whatever that was. See, the Scorpion hits, you're weakening a lot of units at once, and that's a not insignificant number for Scorpions here as well for the blue player. Cavalry archers just never being allowed to reach critical mass here for Bordudoman. 46 minutes, Bordudoman closing in on the villager count, but look at the resources in the bank here. Aside from the gold income of Teapot Master, which might be on the arguably lower side, Teapot Master has a much better eco setup here overall to survive the aggression and then counter push. Even gets a trebuchet there. I think it was mainly the Scorpions dealing with that one. See, cavalry archers, they have 4 bonus damage against cavalry archers, so that's going to be plenty to be dealing with the cavalry archer play here. Bracers in for Teapot Master, as you can see, of course bloodlines because of the earlier camel knight investment. Now in the Imperial Age, the Berbers cavalry costs 20% less as well, so not only 15 but 20. They have such vision with the outpost going up here. Both of the players doing good work at keeping an eye on the map here, giving them the ability to deny some expansion to the sides as well. Looks like the cavalry archer raids have been dealt with here. Teapot Master now in a good spot as this game goes on. As long as the castles stay up for Teapot Master, it's becoming only so much harder for Borduderman to push here. Seems committed to a Pike Siege, in this case Trebs push, but Hunts, I'm pretty sure they get Halberdier as well. So I'd really want to see that Halberdier upgrade there as well, because the Halberdiers, they get even more bonus damage against all kinds of cavalry units, basically. Don't think one trap alone is enough to threaten this castle going over here. Cavalry archers might actually deal with it. It's completely unprotected until the pikemen can get closer. Halberdier kicks in at the perfect timing there for Teapot Master. Teapot Master will need to commit to repairs on the castle, but at least has some defense or a point of refuge for the camel archers, so that the Halberdiers can't get any hit in. Good army movement here of Borduderman to delay these stables from going up. Looks like Teapot Master wants to get into Hussars for raiding here. The resources certainly allowing that. And looking at the openness of Borduderman's base, Hussar raids could really shake things up here. It's behind the total population, not by that much. It's the villager population that concerns me, because with the economy roughly 40 villagers behind her, it means that Teapot Master will be bringing in so much more resources and have a much easier time replenishing the relevant units here. The castle will probably stay up, because even the villager brought in there to fight against the tribe. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but villagers have some bonus against buildings at least. Not really against... I guess they have some extra bonus against melee units, whatever that means. But yeah, the trap will be going down. Teapot Master will need to buy stone now to keep this castle up further, or just mine more. There's plenty of stone to go for here. But now look at the army numbers. Traps going down, it's lots of wood and gold going down for Borduderman. Plenty of gold in the bank, but not so much of everything else. Push just really isn't getting anywhere. The elite skirmisher has been teched by Borduderman. I like that against camel archers. That does make sense. But now the Hussar camel archer combo here. That's no joke for the Huns to deal with. Granted, the camel archers don't have any bonus damage against spears like the cavalry archers do, but they act as a proper meat shield in front of your ranged units, so that the opponent's units will be targeting the hussars rather than your camel archers, and then you'll be able to pick your targets with the camel archers to do lots of damage, even if you're losing your hussars in front. But they only cost food. They are what we call a trash unit. So they are expendable. They could just run in and get poked down by halberdiers, and you'll flood out new ones, just like Teapot Master is doing now, with out of 11 stables, pumping out those hussars and dropping even more stables here, more production buildings. As Borduderman scrambles up a defensive castle to the right here, tries to commit to more barracks for halberdiers as well. But look at the wood food situation here. There has been only 2 TCs. The macro lacking for Borduderman here compared to Teapot Master, who now has, well, who's been on 3 TCs for a while. Camel Archers on point here. Will they be able to deny this castle? I think they might. The castle at 70%. And targeting villagers here as well. And Teapot Master turns this around after being later to the feudal age. Bit more idle TC times. Yeah, slower to the feudal age than the opponent, but able to contest water first with 2 docks and defending the scout rush of Borduderman at the same time, while hitting several targets at once, succeeding in distracting the opponent. And the overall eco management for the later game for Teapot Master seems on point. Camel Archer switch kicking in at the proper timing here. Let's have a look at the statistics. Yeah, twice. I mean, it's 306 to 158 KD. That's a very respectable one for Teapot Master. Conserving the army is better. Spending less resources on military as a result. Can't have an outcastle if you GG before you lose all the villas building it. He didn't lose all of them. See? Yeah, she's falling, but she's out of here. She resigned, I guess. She's the one who did the resigning. Alright, yeah, back to the stats. Yeah, way more resources. That's no surprise there. Teapot Master even getting gill nets for how many fishing ships? Four. Gill nets for 4 fish traps. Wow. That's commitment. Probably had a long-term plan of investing into more fish traps as well, though, because that's a food source that is a lot harder to raid. Alright, back to the draft here for a bit. This should... No, that's the wrong one. This is the one. Surprised not to see Lithuanians for Bay, but it was Huns going down to the Berbers here, so we have those out of the way. Let us have a look at what is up next. Game 2 on African clearing. Spanish versus Byzantines, okay. I'll just... zoom out a little bit here. I'm gonna get a little something to drink. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. African clearing is such a fun map, says Lucas Dukas. I agree. I like most nomad start maps. As far as African clearing goes, I kind of favor Bedouins, to be honest, because it's the villager spawn is more consistent, and well, there's lots more shorefish, lots more ponds. It plays out differently. I suppose it's more easily walled for that reason as well. I don't like that as much, but yeah, African clearing is fine. You'll see the players dropping their town center on the small ponds here. What's burning? Where's that sound coming from? Yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. Because shorefish is, after Mongols hunt, it's the fastest food income source in the game. So you want your TC on the ponds with fish, and if you can find patches of trees like this, you'd go for that as well. I'm not loving Teapot Master's location here, to be honest, even if it could be good in Nomad 1v1s to be close to the... well, to be in the middle, to expand in any direction. Teapot Master's long-term wood income is going to be an issue. He's possibly going to have some over here as well, but as this wood runs out, Teapot Master definitely needs to get to the edges for more consistent wood income, and it's really far away in every direction. But maybe these trees will last Teapot Master until Castlation, he'll be fine. Byzantines, possibly the ultimate defensive civilization. They have all of the counters, most of them at, or you know, skirmishers, spearmen, and camels are cheaper for the Byzantines. Their buildings also have extra hit points, 10, 20, 30, and 40% more as you pass through the ages. Now, as far as Nobel stars go, they tend to be a bit on the slow side. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit here until we reach the feudal age and whatnot. Border demand as a Spanish would have ideally TFC'd over here, maybe, because then the stone would be safe underneath the TC, and you'd be able to go fast castle and pop out your castle and conquistadors. But we'll see how that plays on. Feudal Age coming in for... Oh, border demand is going up at 18 pop here. He's going to go for the scouts with the Spanish here. It's not going straight FC. That might actually catch Teapot Master off guard here, but look at the economy at home base for Teapot Master. There's nothing to worry about here, really. The... everything is underneath the TC here. Food, wood. No exposed resources to be taken here by scouts. If that's the plan indeed, and there is the stable from Border Demand. Seems to like the scouts play. Did go for the scouts the previous game with the Huns as well, and we saw Lithuanians in the draft as well. So there might be more scouts to be seen here. Teapot Master also going for the scouts. A bit surprising to me with the Byzantines. You could just play spear defense against the Spanish scouts, right? Of course, it's harder to scout on these nomad maps because you don't start with a scout. So that might be the reasoning to get the stable up, get a couple of scouts out, both to get an idea of the map and to contest the opponent's scouts. But as the game progresses and Border Demand gets to bloodlines, that's going to be an issue for the Byzantines if this is an extended feudal age, because Byzantines don't get bloodlines and hence will not be favored in scouts versus scouts fights. I can't say I've seen Spanish play scouts a lot on this map though, because Spanish, they will go fast castle and benefit from the conquistadors from their castle. It's the ultimate raiding unit in the early castle age, possibly one of the strongest early castle age units, along with the Turks, Janissary, and arguably the Hussite wagons and war wagons of the Bohemians and Koreans respectively. And on slow nomad starts like this, you might actually benefit from going in fast castle even without much army investment before that. Oh, too few villagers underneath the TC for Border Demand. Going to lose 2 villagers here to the Byzantine scouts. Only 3 scouts out on the field for Teapot Master, but Border Demand losing 2 villagers already. He lost 3 villagers in fact, so must have lost 1 to war as well, because Teapot Master, or to Rhino rather, because Teapot Master only killed 3 here. Did they both lose villagers to Rhino actually? 3 kills, 0 kills but 1 death. Yeah, I think they both lost villagers to Rhinos. Which can happen on this map, of course, if you try to lure in the Rhinos. There's a limit as to how far you can go, especially before you get loom, but no matter what. All things considered, Teapot Masters is in a healthier spot to get to the next stage here. It's getting wheelbarrow for reasons I can't quite understand, or wheelbarrow mainly benefits farmers, but I think the reasoning for Teapot Master here is to get wheelbarrow so that the villagers will more easily outrun scouts and then other army units, because wheelbarrow increases the movement speed of villagers as well. Okay, arguably getting some value off the scouts over here, forcing both these villagers to repair the mill, which means that these 2 guys will not be bringing in any food. But look at the situation here. Actually, they're both getting wheelbarrow. I guess I can only assume that has to do with the movement speed of the villagers, which would, I suppose, benefit the fishermen with the walking distance as well. Or fisher women, if you will. It's a 10% boost to the movement rate, isn't it? Yeah, 10% faster. There's the resources for the castle age, but as you can see here, there's 1 building missing for Teapot Master. These 2 here, that's the icon of structures needed to go to the next stage. And these bars, food and gold, the required resources to go to the next one. Nice small walls here from Teapot Master. Has got those quick walls. Has got that quick wall practice down. But again, getting how many now? 3 fishing villagers idle. So 2 idle over here. They're not back to work yet. And these guys as well, deleting the walls again, but now freeing up a little bit more space for the villagers to work. Yeah, there we go. Putting this back to work as well. Yeah, good. Hitting that idle villager hotkey. Both going to the castle age here. It's a slight lead for Teapot Master, but also better economy situation here, given that Boar Duderman has lost 4 villagers total, 1 to Rhino and 3 to Teapot Master's aggression. A little bit of a wall-off for both players, I guess, but more so for the Spanish, denying any units entry from Teapot Master to the north. 8 on stone though for Boar Duderman, definitely planning those conquistadors. Suppose the castle will be going up here if it doesn't actually go. You know what? If Boar Duderman places the castle forward here on Teapot Master's TC, then Teapot Master is in big trouble. We'll have to rebuild the TC elsewhere, and this area will be completely useless, which will means lots of villagers will potentially have to relocate. And that could give Boar Duderman an eco edge in the meantime. This could also be a good site for a castle drop for Boar Duderman. He has it scouted, knows that there's stuff going on over here. But we'll see. Teapot Master is the first one up here. We'll probably prepare some ranges here for defense against the conquistadors, since the Spanish have cheaper skirmishers anyway. Boar Duderman's castle age as well. Actually buying 100 stone there just to get that castle up, and I'm not loving that castle. Not loving that castle. Oh, the knight is out for Teapot Master as well. Knight, of all things. Byzantine's knight. Yeah, but that castle is definitely going to complete for Boar Duderman. The Spanish builders, they build more quickly. Spanish villagers, they build more quickly, so there's no denying that castle from going up. Could delay it a little bit with the spears here, but definitely not going to stop that castle from completing. Unless Teapot Master somehow is able to send villagers over here to drop 2 towers, then you might be able to stop the castle from going up. It's still coming at a cost for Boar Duderman though, losing a couple more villagers here as the castle completes. But now all set to make the conquistadors. Only 3 on gold and 4 on food though, so it's not going to be a lot of conquistadors here yet. I was going to say I expect Teapot Master to drop a range here, but I still don't see any archery range from the blue player. Monks could be an option as well. Byzantine's monks, they have all of the appropriate technologies from the monastery. So small numbers of conquistadors, then monks or skirmishers is the answer. But if you look at these guys, it's 16 base attack. So 3 conquistadors will one-shot a loom villager with loom, assuming they hit. That is because the base accuracy is at, so what is it again? 65%. So they're not the most accurate units. Yep, range is going up here, no surprise there. Skirmishers, they are, what is it, 20% cheaper for the Byzantines? Definitely at the discount, both the spears and skirmishers. TC is going up for both players as well. They're securing the precious gold. Once again, I'm surprised that I guess the reasoning here is that you could evacuate the fishermen to the TC by placing it like this, but placing it in the back, you have secured the wood line. Much more so as well, but I'm sure there's a reason behind it. 3 TCs for the Byzantines, 2 for the Spanish, but the Conquistadors are out and they could really get some value now in terms of raiding. That's the second villager kill for Bordeaux the Man, while Teapot Master is taking Elite Skirmisher and preparing to defend. It's only a matter of time before Bordeaux the Man finds the wood line to the side here though, or the fisherman for that matter. So these should not be able to escape, I think, the aggression. So we're really evening out the villager numbers here now, as Bordeaux the Man is roaming around with these conquistadors, and the Teapot Master just doesn't have the numbers yet. Don't see a monastery yet for Teapot Master either. That would be an appropriate response to the conquistadors. But skirmishers coming from both sides here, which I like. It means you could get somewhat of a surround on the conquistadors and force them to run away in this case. Love the Knights addition from Bordeaux the Man here. The skirmishers, they don't stand a chance against Knights, of course. Not sure if skirmishers provide extra arrows from the TC, do they? Yeah, they do. By the looks of it. But certainly disallows the Knights from engaging. Shouldn't be a huge issue for Teapot Master to add some spearmen here as well, though. But the food income is on the lower side. Has been relying maybe a little bit too much on the fish food income here, and the conquistadors raided that nicely. So it's not looking too pretty for the Byzantines currently. Here comes a castle on the hill for Teapot Master. The Kong's on point, but there are skirmishers here to defend as well, and as well as a couple of camels to hold this off. Spearman addition from Bordeaux the Man. Probably after seeing the camels here. Camels being cheaper for the Byzantines as well, but the skirmishers, they have bonus damage against spearmen as well. So the skirmisher numbers alone easily deal with both of the units on the field for Bordeaux the Man currently. So once again, we're looking at Teapot Master with a slight military advantage here. The economy situation is comparable. Even if it's 2 CTs, 2 TCs to 3, Bordeaux the Man is doing a great job at keeping the villager production consistent. At least compared to the opponent here. 4 times as much idle time for Teapot Master. A third TC going up as well. That's going to complete quickly, being the Spanish here. So, and the aggression is kept out from this angle. So great defense from Bordeaux the Man so far, and some good raids earlier on as well. Still 5-6 villagers lead for Teapot Master here, something like that. I hear the conquistadors and Mangonel being added as well, so you could really expose some of the production buildings here. That TC is not, I mean, what's that going to give you really, taking out that TC? I suppose it's completely, there's no builders here to garrison, so it's easy to take it out, but now with the skirmisher mass increasing for Teapot Master even able to one-shot conquistadors there with the bonus damage that the skirmishers have against cavalry archer class armor, or archer class armor that the conquistadors indeed have. So I'm not sure whose position I favor here really, because Teapot Master is still struggling to get that food economy rolling. Yes, there are extra TCs here, but these 3 TCs they can't produce when you don't have any food income. So either Teapot Master needs to commit some of the gold miners to wood ASAP. Almost looks like Teapot Master wants to go mass monks here, looking at the 41 on gold and having some wood to double up on the monastery is building as well. It's so annoying to play against Spanish on, especially on the nomad maps though, because the nomad maps usually has an abundance of stone and with good food sources as well, so it's fairly easy to pull off a rather fast castle age, and then you'll drop your first castle and start pumping out those conquistadors. They have such high attack output that it's very hard to defend against. Conquistador was only 6 of them though, and counting, so the mass not really threatening yet. More stables going up here. The Teapot Master wants to double up on camels. I'm not hating that idea, seeing that there are roughly as many knights on the field as there are conquistadors. Both players adding monasteries as well. First monk ready to go here. Teapot Master with the gold accumulated here should be able to get a redemption research as well, which means you could convert siege weapons. But for the time being, committing to the monks production. Yeah, looks like the last of the conquistadors might be going on here. The camels are doing work as well. The power of the Byzantines comes to show here with all of the units they have to respond with here. I think Teapot Master is doing better at spending the resources as well. Has an villager lead and eco lead, but keeps spending units extending into further TCs as well. And the Spanish aggression, while having done some decent damage, taking out roughly as many units as Teapot Master finally has been able to extend into some more food sources here and assume the villagers lead. Got some conquistadors converted. That's going to allow Teapot Master to raid with those converted conquistadors as well, or just take out Bordudeman's own conquistadors at a distance. Still only one castle for the Spanish player, but the knight switch probably with the intention of raiding as well. I mean, did he find this wood line actually? Because if Bordudeman had scouted this area, that would be some easy meat for the conquistadors or knights over here. Very exposed lumberjacks over there. Yeah, look at that. The counter-attack with the converting conquistadors. 3 conquistadors, it's enough to one-shot villagers if all of them hit. So that's going to be annoying for Bordudeman to deal with. Also, if Teapot Master pulls them back home towards his own monks, he could heal them up as well. He's gonna try and break through. Gonna look for some raid damage in it. Yeah, this is going to be taken care of by Bordudeman here, I believe. He's pulling the conquistadors back home. Yeah, you should be able to clean that up, no problem. But he might need to think about Bordudeman, might need to think about something against the camels now. Look at the numbers, you could still probably justify going a couple of monasteries here as Bordudeman and try and get some conversions in. But as the numbers increase with the cheaper Byzantine camels here, then Bordudeman might be forced into a halberdier switch eventually. Yeah, has to chase down the converted conquistadors here, allowing Teapot Master to freely drop a castle up north because the ranged units, the conquistadors, they're just too far off. I guess if it could have maybe cut down the travel distance there and deleting the house and sending the villagers in, but that would also mean opening up your base, and that's not necessarily desirable either. This castle doesn't do much else than provide a point of refuge for Teapot Master's units, and ease of breaking through the walls over here, but it's still something that needs to be dealt with, and it's a Byzantine's castle. It's already tanky as hell with the 30% extra building hit points. Now with engagement here with the camels, the cheaper Byzantines camels diving in here for a good fight, getting some conquistadors. Only spearmen here as well. The spearmen probably have bonus damage against camels as well, but just not enough to... Yeah, 12 bonus damage against camels. There's just they're not nearly enough in the numbers here. Pikeman upgrade, affordable, but I sort of get the idea that Borduman is aiming for Imperial Age here as well. To get to trebuchets to deal with castles. 2 castles now for Depot Master, and there's still stone in the bank for another one. It's really flexing on the economy here now. 105 to 91 villagers, and keeping up with the military numbers as well. The eco management seems more on point for Depot's Master here, and the overall map control as well. You see more and more blue popping up on the map. Here's another castle, beautiful castle on the hill there for Teapot Master, and still got all these golds and stones in the to the right side of the map, east side of the map to claim. Furthermore, the Byzantines have cheaper Imperial Age. It's a 33% discount, so these that's going to give a tiny head start to the Imperial Age for Teapot Master. Nothing too crazy, but still worth noting, especially considering that Teapot Master has a better overall eco setup here, has brought in more resources, spending them more consistently as well. It's actually going into cataphracts here, which with all these castles actually kind of makes sense. I have to say, maybe the only, or at least the best unit to deal with cataphracts is Arbalasts, and Spanish don't even get crossbow. So how will the Spanish stop cataphracts? Halberdiers, yes, but once you get to Logistica for the cataphracts, having them deal trample damage to units as well, then you're in trouble. Hello, Emu Warrior. Not sure if the Spanish can stop elite cataphracts here at all. I suppose elite conquistadors if you get the proper numbers, but there's only one castle for Borduman, and the economy is way behind as well. I think Teapot Master is looking at the game too here. The Imperial Age is in, so will be the case for Borduman, but look at the military numbers here, look at the economy, and look at all the blue dots across the map here. Teapot Master raiding, claiming the map. 2-0 in this best of 5. So let's go back to the draft and close out the Spanish, losing to the Byzantines here. And a quick look at the statistics before diving into game 3. Oh yeah, fairly early elite skirmisher here for Teapot Master. Reaction to the Conquistadors investment or the Castle Age. Borduman never able to reach the critical mass of Conquistadors. And slightly earlier Imperial Age as well, I guess. Borduman actually called it 5 seconds before reaching Imperial Age. Not that would change much getting there for the Spanish at this point. Seeing the cataphracts probably the death blow for Borduman here. This means that we're going to the second home map of Border Man. So let's see what game 3 will bring us here. It's going to be hideout, and it's going to be Britons versus Poles. Alright, so here we go. This is hideout. We have the fairly close spawn here, which leads me to favor the early Poles aggression here. Why? Because Poles, as they mine stone, they collect 50% gold for each stone collected as well. And which means you could comfortably go for, say, a 20 or 21 pop men-at-arms and towers as the Poles here, and essentially punish the Britons before they can mass any particular amount of archers. And the Britons archers, there is, except for the fact that they produce 20% faster throughout the game, there's nothing too particular about the Britons archers. In the Castle Age they get +1 range, in the Imperial Age another +1. But until that point, the Britons are almost a generic civilization. They do collect sheep a little faster as well, though. So they are they have that eco bonus going for them that Poles don't have. But as the game goes on here, of course, I favor Britons more because of their extra range on the range units. It's extremely annoying to be up against. But I would say as well that with the Poles' unique technology for 60% food discount, no gold discount on the knights, will allow them to spam cavaliers in the Imperial Age as well. That might be a way to keep the Britons busy. But Britons have access to halberdiers as well. I think if you get a defensive castle up on the side here as the Britons and maybe a wall off the other side, you could just boom better than the Poles and get to your arbalests or even longbows, and then you demolish the Poles here, because yes, they have cavaliers at a dirt cheap price, but they're lacking the last armor, which hurts quite a bit. And Poles, I don't think they get siege ongear. They do get bombard cannon, which helps out a bit, but and they also get arbalests of their own, but as you can see, they're missing the last armor for them as well then. So as the game goes longer, it could be an issue for the Poles, but the fact that Poles collect gold in addition to stone from their stone miners does give them an edge in the feudal and castle ages. No! Teapot Master self-nerfing a bit here. Tries the TC trick to take out the boar, but garrisoned. I think, how many villagers are a little too many? Let's just have a little look at how many were actually inside the TC upon bringing in the boar. See that? 7 villagers. That's one too many. That's why that ended bad for Teapot Master there. If you have 6 villagers inside the TC, it takes exactly 2 volleys of TC arrows to weaken the boar enough to ungarrison and shoot it. If you have 4, you need, it's the similar, but you need 3 shots from the TC. But if you have 7, you're dealing an additional damage, which means that with 2 full TC arrow volleys, the boar will die to the TC arrow fire, and you will not be able to harvest any meat from the boar at all. Yeah, Teapot Master not daring to try it for the second one. So that's 340 food lost for Teapot Master. That really sets back the start here for the Poles is on stone, so I'm getting an impression it's still aiming for a fast feudal age towers approach here. Maybe just plain towers, maybe not even the men-at-arms here. But I hope he's gonna get in here. I hope, yeah, he's following it. I love that. No, yeah, stay inside. That's great. This is yeah, you know he's gonna lose the scout, but actually I like this because you'll be able to scout. The gold is forward, the stone is forward. Place your very first tower somewhere around here, and once you get your second tower up, you're forcing Bordudaman outside out into the field to collect either stone or gold. So this is extremely valuable intelligence for Teapot Master. 2 sheep being gathered as the scout is over here as well. Presumably the Teapot Master would be up earlier to the feudal age here, but he's missing that food because of losing the boar, so maybe not actually. I'm confused as to why Boar Dudeman doesn't take the fight here. He could just pull a villager in with his scouts to win the fight against the Teapot Master scout here, but maybe he'll just want to get to the feudal age and then take the fight, but because once you reach the feudal age, if you're ahead to the feudal age, your scout will have more attack, and you'll easily take out your opponent's scout. Okay, yeah, so that's 2 sheep down for the Britons. Suppose Loom is in here. Just for safety, I guess, or maybe Borduleman was intending to send the villager forward and drop the range forward with the Britons here. Will eventually take out this scout though, and there we go, Teapot Master kills off the 2 sheep, so that's 2 less sheep for the Britons to enjoy. But more importantly, scouting the stone and the gold, which means that both of the key resources to make either archers or towers, they are easily denied by a couple of forward towers from Teapot Master, who is dropping the barracks just now, significantly behind to the next stage. So this is 21 population up for Bordudeman at only 6 seconds of idle time as compared to Teapot Master's 47. So a significant lead into the feudal age here, even with even though it's 1 builder less, it's more idle time and a bit more fragile economy for our blue player here. There's a feudal age for Teapot Master as well. Now, advantage for the Poles. Yes, he did lose that 340 food to the boar, but at least with the folwark economy, once you start seeding farms around your folwark, you'll be getting 10% of the farm food once the farms complete. So say you seed 6 farms around this folwark at once they complete, you'll instantly get about 60, 70, 80 food, something like that. And I believe it also increases with the farm upgrades. So with horse color in, that's going to yield even a little bit more food. Percentage-wise. Outpost to the side here just to keep an eye out for the incoming archers eventually here. Borduleman nowhere near that castle age click, of course, committing to the feudal age economy here. Very heavy on the berries. Maybe because of losing those 2 sheep, which obviously sets back the Britons' transition towards the next stage as well. Is not the men-at-arms towers here at all for Teapot Master. If anything, it's going to be skirmisher defense and a bit of recovery here, but yeah, I guess Teapot Master feels like he can't be too much on the offensive side here because of the later feudal age situation. However, Teapot Master might actually be beating the Britons comfortably with Castle Age here, and that shakes things up a bit. Just a few knights and you easily clean up feudal age archers. Or you could place a forward siege workshop and push in that way. Or even drop a castle. I mean, there's very decent stone income here from Teapot Master. You don't want to drop a forward castle with knowing that the Britons player will very likely have archers out to deny that though. Just had to answer a message there. Hefty farm economy popping up for the Britons here. The food situation seems very comparable between the two. No gold mining at all for Depot Master, but stone mining indeed, which means that a defensive castle will probably be popping up here for the Poles, maybe aiming for a faster Imperial Age into whatever unit they want to make of that. Beautiful folwark economy here, but that house actually obstructing that a little bit. I suppose you could delete that house, given that the folwarks provide then 5 population space as well, though. So yeah, lovely farming economy here. Castle Age on the way for Teapot Master. Britain's clicking right behind. It's only 6 seconds difference here between the two. Skirmishers for Teapot Master. I like that addition, of course, because you know that the Britain's player is going to be making crossbows anyway. The fact that they're up to the castle edge, it's exactly the same time. But 5 builders difference. Don't get fooled here though. There's the eco operates are the same, except for wheelbarrow, which translates into about 3 builders worth of creation time. It's also going to speed your villagers, boost your villager speed, gathering rate, or gathering capacity rather. And but most important it is for the farms, and with 15 farms the wheelbarrow upgrade is definitely warranted. Teapot Master as a result going into the castle age at a stronger economy here. Will be dropping the castle instantly unless Wardudaman is able to get the archers forward just in time to stop that. I'm definitely envisioning the castle going up here for Teapot Master, and he could easily compete all the farms as well if he really needs to rush that castle up. Oh, he wants to oh, he wants to... Ooh. Oh. Wait, what happened here? What happened here? Why is Border the man? Did he cancel Castle Age by accident here? What's going on here? No way. No way. What? What happened here? Is that a misclick? That's a hotkey mistake? Or is it an intentional move to be able to double up on the archer's production? Oh, that looked like a misclick to me. Right, cancelling Castle Age unintentionally right before going up. Could also be a conscious choice to mass up more archers, pull back home, secure economy further, because Teapot Master is placing the castle defensively, but I think that was a misclick or a misplay. Translate 5 seconds before getting there when not under pressure is never intentional. Yeah, exactly. There has to be a hotkey mistake or something happening there. So that's extremely unfortunate for the Britons player here. Missing out on that extra 1 range that the Castle Age brings. It's gonna kick in any moment though. But in the meantime, Teapot Master is actually taking stone shaft mining to speed up the stone collection for an eventual forward castle possibly here in this area. But man, that hurts. That's almost... I mean, that's at least 2.5, almost 3 minutes lost for Bordudeman there for the crossbow bodkin upgrade. He's still going to get it. He's making a couple of knights as well. I think that makes sense against the small number of skirmishers on the field here. But in the meantime, Teapot Master is making use of that much earlier Castle Age to add an additional TC, further extend on the eco, lead here, and now with 9 villagers mining stone as well to boost the stone income and also boosting the gold income, of course, as the Poles get a 50% return of gold for each piece of stone they mine, essentially. It's a healthy chunk of crossbows here, but does Border Dude Man know about the... Border Dude Man. Border Dude Man. Yeah, I've been saying that wrong the entire time, sorry about that. But Border Dude Man didn't know about the castle until... Why the Obuk? What's this gonna give you? The crossbows will slay the Obuk. Maybe cancelling archers in the global... Here, you're right. Maybe if you're cancelling units up in the corner and you misclick that to accidentally cancel cancellation. That could be the case, yeah. Okay, I like this movement. There's only a matter of time until Teapot Master can get another castle up. Worst case, he could scramble up a castle in this area, and he should be fairly safe from the crossbows aggression. But this castle is not in the prettiest spot in that regard. Border Dude Man will be breaking through the walls here, and forcing Teapot Master to flee at this point. Soon able to afford another castle, but these crossbows could be doing a lot of damage, especially with the 5+3 range of the Britons, comfortably outranging town centers, if placed correctly, that is. The Obuk easily cleaning up the knights, of course. They strip enemy units of armor, and I suppose they attack rather quickly as well. Pretty chunky, 80 hit points here per unit. 8+1 attack. But Teapot Master will need a lot more skirmishes here until getting into the eventual Schlachta privileges knights, I guess. Border Dude Man could also use the extra range of the Britons to snipe skirmishers at a distance here. Fully upgraded skirmishers may be saved for ballistics here for Teapot Master, but that's a negligible upgrade for the skirmishers. Eventually you'll want to get it, but it doesn't benefit skirmishers nearly as much as it does crossbows. I believe it has a slight effect, but the base accuracy of the skirmishers is 90 anyway, so they're not the most accurate unit out there. Obuk going in for the counterattack, also only 5 builders moving forward, but this is a decent play from Teapot Master here, considering that he knows that most of the crossbow mass is over here. He has the Obuk here as well to run in and possibly contest the stray crossbows, and this castle might very well complete. Ballistics is in, so it doesn't make sense to take out the university. You could still consider attacking and taking out the university here with your Teapot Master, because that could possibly deny the ballistics upgrade. But then again, looking at the crossbows here, it's probably going to be able to tell whether ballistics is in or not, and if it's in, it doesn't matter if the university stays up, of course, until chemistry in the Imperial Age, that is. Trying to scramble up a defensive tower here to deny this forward castle. It's only 5 elders building it, so if Border Dude Man gets this tower up, the castle gets denied. But he has the Obuk here as well to stop the villagers from building that tower. This castle will complete. Using the market to tweak the resources a little bit here as well. And committing mainly to the Obuk now. Double range skirmishers as well. I mean, if you get enough skirmishers, the Britons will need to go into something to deal with that as well. Either some siege or cavalry or skirmishes of their own. Look at the Poles regenerating villagers here. He's actually gonna win this fight because he regenerates HP. I think. That's so unfair. It's so unfair that they regenerate 1 HP like that. That's a fight that Red would have won with against any other civilization. Border Dude Man with a castle now, closing it on Imperial Age actually, which will unlock Arbalest, Bracer, Chemistry. But the crossbow mass not too impressive here. This castle needs to complete before Border Dude Man can click the Imperial Age, but that's probably the intention here. And now just to go for Imperial Age, please don't cancel that as well. Unintentionally, there it is. So a great head start to the Imperial Age here, but that's not to say that the Poles need Imperial Age to contest it here. Teapot Master has a slight army advantage at this point. Could, I suppose, add some siege weapons forward, some rams maybe to just break through the walls here and obstruct the economy progression of Border Dude Men here. Yeah, I suppose we're closing in on the Imperial Age click here for Teapot Master after all. Getting hand card as well, so healthier eco upgrades here for the Poles. Further going to benefit villagers' gathering capacity, and don't remember if it affects the movement speed as well. Let's have a look. Yep, faster movement speed as well with hand card. Obuk Skirmisher for Teapot Master here. Obuk Arbalest also works for the Poles against many civilizations. Obviously not nearly as well against the Britons, having their extra range. Soon to have another +1 range with the Imperial Age kicking in. Stables coming up for the Poles now. That should be a giveaway for Border Dude Man. If he sees them, he's actually not seeing them. The unique tech Schlachta privileges for the Poles is coming in, which means that the Knights will cost 60% less gold. Dirt cheap Knights and soon to become Cavaliers for Teapot Master. There's one castle against one castle forward here. Arbalest is in, but still not in a threatening mass here for the Britons. Yes, they replenish numbers, or they produce numbers more quickly, but it looks like Border Dude Man is anticipating the cavalry switch here from Teapot Master. So, while I kind of feel like more ranges and more Arbalest would make more sense here, the halberdier switch is obviously going to come in handy as well. The problem is that Teapot Master already has a decent number of Obuk, and they will slay the halberdiers in this case. Not sure if Teapot Master can save this forward castle. Actually, it's down to half HP already. But let's see, it's only... No, there's 2 traps actually, so scratch that. It's not just one with... Yeah, that castle goes down. No forward trebuchets for Teapot Master, but looks a bit that castle definitely going down here, but the army numbers increasing as well. They're tied in military now. Teapot Master for once is behind in economy. But... hasn't had the economy threatened at home, of course. He's even popping up sneak stables to the left side sort of surround Border Dude Man with the raids here, and I like that. Hitting from both sides makes it harder to react. Hello, Hopsy wins. Hopsy wins. I was going to say Hoppies wins, but Hopsy wins. Your set will be up next. So Armas safe behind the walls here. Skirmisher number not too convincing here for Teapot Master, but then there's the potential raids from this side. What's this? Ooh, walling in the relics. Okay, that's a nice means to secure some of them. Teapot Master has 3 relics total though, so gold trickle advantage there for the Poles player. So have a quick look at the total resources collected as well. It's even with fewer villagers, Teapot Master, with the undisrupted economy, has been able to bring in slightly more resources overall. 5 stables producing the Cavaliers now, most of them from the left-hand side here, coming with sneak raids from the left, which means that Border Dude Man will need to react from this side. Still no Halberd here, even if the economy almost allows it here. Does he have a market though? I don't think Border Dude Man has a market. So he can't sell wood or food for gold here, otherwise it is coming in, so the Halb upgrade is coming in. But again, the Obak here, there's just a lot of them, and as they get close to the arms as well, they will be able to take out quite a few of them, and it takes some time to there's just not enough ranges here for Border Dude Man to replenish them. The arms are going down so quickly here. Now the Cavaliers as well, and fully upgraded as far as Poles Cavaliers go. The Trebs exposed. Yeah, I think this is over, because there's raids from both sides here as well. Border Dude Man struggling to get enough gold here. Definitely does not have enough ranges to replenish the orbs. And actually now falling behind the villagers. Hey! Don't do that. So I did my best to avoid the sweep. You've been playing well, Border Dude Man. It's just that Teapot Master has been playing better. It's like the... Yeah, exactly, here it comes. I can't Castlage at 97%. That's so unfortunate, especially considering Teapot Master's very rough start with losing the boar. He should actually be telling the... the Teapot Master should tell him that he lost the first boar to TZ. GG on the win, dude. Enjoy your winnings. I guess there was a tiny prize pool for this one as well, if that's the case. Yeah, no prize pool for the Silver League. Still a good match. Teapot Master is also a mod and he didn't know there's a prize pool. That's how well we are modding. I've been modding this tournament as well. Not been following that too much though. Question is, what are we waiting for here? I think cancelling Castlage at 95% is worse than losing the board to TC, actually. But in all fairness, if Teapot Master hadn't been Poles here, it would be a lot harder to recover from as well. So that's something to keep in mind. That is a 3-0 for Teapot Master Low, so congratulations. Maybe you'll be watching this later. I believe we are in different time zones, so probably busy with other stuff at this hour, I would kind of assume. Let's browse through the stats here. Teapot Master seems to be a iffier early game player, but strong in the late game. That's exactly the kind of playstyle I struggle against as well. So GG well played. Good macro from Teapot Master all of the games. This last one being the most iffy one of the three, but recovering and making great decisions to eventually close out the game, or turn the game around and then close it, basically. It's just these small things that could have a huge impact on the overall